Hello and welcome back to BlueTube on YouTube with me, Neil, flying solo today. Ben is away, which was well planned, I know, always happens, start of every season, which means he missed a cracking opening game to the Championship last night at St Andrews with 27,508 fans. Pretty much a packed out house for the first game in the Championship since our promotion from League One last year. And the conditions were absolutely perfect last night. Beautiful weather, electric atmosphere, packed to the rafters, sort of let down a little bit by some dodgy officiating, which we'll get onto, which I'm not going to dwell too much on because, like me, you're probably feeling bad enough about it anyway, because it was a game for us to win last night, wasn't it? When we did our preview the other day, I was saying, oh, yeah, 2-1 Blues. People were putting comments on saying, I'll take a draw now. And the closer we got to the match, I was like, do you know what? I'd take a draw now. But after we got started, I just think that Blues really took it to Ipswich last night. We proper set our stall out last night as how the season's going to go. And if we play like we did, especially in that first half, we've got nothing to worry about. Yeah, games aren't going to be easy. Last night proved that because it's not just the opposition you're playing against. We've got dodgy officiating, like I've always said. And I'm not going to go on about it too much. I did enough of that last season. But we will touch a little bit on it just to try and get it out the system more than anything. Yeah, there'll be people out there saying, it's happened now, let's move on. But I think sometimes it's good just to finally get it out the system, allow us to digest what's happened and just be a bit more positive moving forward. But we'll go through some stats as well. But just to tell you on the buzz around the ground yesterday, we've actually changed our season ticket, so we are now in the main stand, having been at the Gilmerick last year. But we're just in the main stand, and just the feeling from where we are, we can just see the rest of all the ground, and it just looked amazing. There's a bit of a clip here I'll show you. Not that you need to see it because obviously most of you are down there. But it'd be great to see some comments of what your thoughts were. I've already been reading so much on the internet this morning about how it went, and we'll get to it. But the injustice that happened last night, is it in the balance? It's fairly heavy towards it being really a harsh decision. We know about the penalty, injury time penalty. Let's go straight to it. It was so unjust. I dare say you've probably seen the footage of it. I'll put a few little snippets up as we go. But I just think, what a way to just let us down at the end. And it's no one's particular fault. I'm not going to blame Lyndon Dykes for that because he's gone up. He's gone up with his hands in the air to get momentum. Okay, one hand's sort of stayed up there. It happens. There's no way. One, it wasn't a deliberate handball. Yes, it's changed the trajectory of where the ball's going. But at the same time, he's had, what, half a yard to do anything about it? Whereas most people use a bit of common sense and say, there's nothing he could have done about that. And especially at that time of the game, to let that decision be the thing that gives or takes away the 3 points from Blues. I've got to get it out my system, and doing this hopefully will do that for me. But the one thing that I noticed about the ref, to start with, he was letting a lot of heavy challenges from the Ipswich side go. And I commented to someone next to me in the stadium last night that the first tiniest little bit of a foul that Blues commit will probably be a yellow card. And it happened because we were getting some heavy challenges and nothing was going punished from the referee against Ipswich. But as soon as there was a bit of handbags at dawn between Bright and another from Ipswich, both of them got yellow cards, and it was just like, it just didn't ring true. The referee was just so quick to blow his whistle. A good referee will have a few moments and let it mull through his mind. And there's two examples of this. The first example, on the 8th minute when Kyogo went through, scored a superb goal, which not many people saw anything wrong with. The referee had blown the whistle hardly before he'd hit the shot. And professionals in the game that were commenting on last night's match all agreed it was harsh. It was a goal, a lot of people were saying. So, but the positivity around that then, like Blues just went on, the passing game was there from last season. We looked really strong against the favourites to go up as champions this year. Yeah, we were at home with nearly 30,000 fans behind us, but Ipswich never really worried us. We made a couple of dodgy sort of decisions at the back. There was another minor error that could have gone wrong that Allsop, when he passed it out, and luckily they blazed it wide. But apart from that, I don't think Ipswich actually really troubled us. So let's look at the stats. So one thing I will say, and I didn't take a snap of this, but in the first half, the possession was 65-35 in Blues' favour. But overall, on the game last night, yeah, Ipswich had a lot more of the ball in second half. But Blues defended well all game, right through to the 90th minute. And then we were given eight minutes. Where did the 8 minutes added time come from? And I'm still hoarse today because of the shouting last night, but 8 minutes. I don't think, tell me where 8 minutes come from. Anyway, so 51 possession overall at the end of the game to Blues with 49 to Ipswich. Even that doesn't sound right to me, but you know how you can remember games differently sometimes. Blues 366 passes to their 348. 16 tackles for Blues, 3 for Ipswich Town. Yeah, it doesn't sound right, does it? I don't know. 4 corners to 1 in Ipswich's favour. Total shots, 11 shots for Blues, 7 for Ipswich. Shots on target, Blues had 3. Shame we couldn't convert them. Let's go down to 16 fouls Blues, 22 for them. 2 yellow cards for Blues, 3 for Ipswich. So does that sum it up? No, I don't think it does, because there's a lot of neutrals I've noticed on the internet and on social media saying that it was a bit of a drab game. That's not the game that I remember seeing last night. I mean, yeah, I was fired up for it. I really, expected Blues to put the performance up they did. And I think the only one element, I promised I wouldn't go into this anymore, but I am, was Andrew Kitchen. He's got a lot to answer for, because I just think the occasion was probably a bit big for him. This guy's only been a referee at top sort of level since 2021 or something like that. And he hasn't really done any big games. I think he's done like an FA Cup Sunday tournament thing, according to the EFL site. But he was just a little bit hasty in the certain decisions against Blues, but then not so when it came to decisions about nasty challenges. Now, Blues, let's be honest, Blues made some heavy challenges last night, and we're getting a little bit known for that. Not that I'd say that we're being dirty, we're just being strong in the challenge, which is exactly the type of football that Chris Davis wants. And on that, Blues epitomised Chris Davis's approach in that game last night. Sort of take no prisoners. It's that heavily possession game, and we're going to be strong in the tackle, strong in the challenge, and the drive was clearly there. And unfortunately, is this type of football going to sway in the Championship with these referees? I don't know. I did promise I wouldn't say too much about the referee, but it's just going to keep coming up, isn't it? But let me get it out of my system, and it'll all be over. Let's go through the teams and the player ratings, because my personal player ratings differ a little bit as well to the internet's ones. So I've got up here, this is both teams. And if we start with Ryan Allsop, I didn't think he did much wrong yesterday. To be honest with you, yeah, there was that one bad pass out. I said at the time, we'll let him have one, but if that one turns into a goal against, then it doesn't go down very well. But he was given a 6.3. Yeah, probably 6.3 is fair enough, 6.5, something like that. These are from FootMob these ratings are, and they're usually pretty much on the ball, aren't they? So let's go to Bright Asayi Samuel. He had a really good game yesterday. Very busy player. Got up and down like Laird used to. Just has that little bit more, maybe I think I can see why Chris Davis has gone with him over Laird. Certainly his aerial presence in the box, I noticed yesterday, met some really good headers where Laird, that was probably his one weakness in the game last year when we were weak in the air, sort of at the back post on the right-hand side. So that's one thing that's looking good. But again, the energy levels of Bright yesterday gave him a 7 score, which I'd agree with that. So moving on to Clara, who was the captain yesterday. It's got on here that he was the right-sided centre-back, which he wasn't. He was on the left. And in fairness, at the start of the game, he looked a little uncomfortable on that left side of centre-back, but he honestly grew into it, and they've given him a 7.1 on here, which I would agree with, because all in all, he was solid all game. And he had a lot of possession, him and Newman, which we will move on to as well, who did play the right side centre-back. He is known to be more right-footed and has actually played a lot as right-back position formerly before coming to Blues. So that's nice to know that we've got that to fall back on if needed. He was given a 6.6. It was his first league game for Blues yesterday, and I thought he did absolutely brilliantly. Some fantastic crunching challenges in the box, one where they were through on goal. Clara and him seem to be clicking well together, I think. And the more we see them, and the more they play together, the better it'll get, in all honesty. Cochrane gets a 7.1, according to FootMob, which I would agree with. He was a very busy player, kept very busy down that left side. Benny, I don't even know who that is. I know he gave Cochrane a good run for his money, though, to be fair. And these, they've got Iwata and Paik on here next. And yeah, they're the central hub of our midfield for me, and that's how it's going to be for most of the season. You can see why Doyle's not going to be in that position. Again, they've got them the wrong way round on here, haven't they? Because Paik's more the left-sided and Iwata more the right side. But between the two of them, I think the scores on here, they've got 7.5 for Iwata, which is absolutely bang on for me, and Paik with a 7.3. Steady eddies, latch on together really well, and the distribution of the ball, the box-to-box running. There was one time when Iwata, I think, was through on goal. He chested it coming into the box, and normally you'd put your house on him scoring it, but he blazed it over. But we won't hold that against him for this first game of the season. Damari Gray, first league game back in a blue shirt. He got a 6.8. He was subbed off on 83 minutes. I think that's fair. It took him a little while to get into the game, which is understandable. But had some lovely moves on the ball, linked up well with whoever he was around, got right into that sort of third man passing, that sort of triangle that we're doing, and advances really well. But what I liked was the fact that he made some really good challenges, sort of middle of the pitch as well, and won a lot of possession back that I noticed yesterday. So he's doing himself some really good favours there, and it's good to see him back. Let's go over to Keshi Anderson, who, I don't know if you noticed, but at some parts of the game, they actually swapped flanks, didn't they, between Gray and Anderson? And I thought Anderson had a fantastic game last night. He gave them some real good trouble. There's a couple of times that the final ball into the box wasn't perfect, but I still think that's going to come because last season he proved that he has got that to his game now, and he got into some really good advanced positions. Tricky as always, and once he gets started, like a powerhouse. FootMob have given him a 7.6 here. I'm going to leave Stansfield to the end because I want to talk a little bit about him. But Kyogo Furuhashi got a 6.2 on FootMob. And I think probably a 6.5, just a little bit better for me personally, because I thought he had a great game. He put himself about, and how unlucky was he for that goal? Honestly, it should have been such a different scoreline yesterday. I thought he was really unlucky. It was such a soft challenge. And if you look at this here, there's a little article from Troy Deeney, was on Talk Sports, and not just him. There's so many pro players and ex-pros, and even on Sky, I believe, from what I've been hearing last night, saying that it was such a soft challenge that the goal should have stood. But it hasn't. We have to move on. We're forced to. I think the worst part of it is literally a couple of minutes later, between Furuhashi, Kyogo, that is, and I think it was Greaves, the centre back for Ipswich. Exactly the same challenge with Kyogo advancing on goal. Exactly the same challenge, but the other way around, and the ref lets it go. So how's that for consistency? And I'm mentioning the ref again because he had such a bearing on the game. And how many times have we had such a good game and been, and it works for both teams, because I think he was just crap generally for both teams. But when it has such an effect on the scoreline, you can't help but just go on about it. And I know I'm going on about it, but it's getting out of my system a little bit as we go on. But Jay Stansfield, first league game in the Championship, back, and he gets a goal. Brilliant work between Kyogo and Stansfield. Little chip over the keeper, hits the post, bounces back out, and Stansfield just puts it in the roof of the net. Absolutely blasts it away. And that's it, we're off and running. And from then on, it should have been 3 points going forward. But Ipswich, fair play to them. Second half came at us, had a lot more possession, passed the ball around nicely. Very similar to what Blues do. We know that that's what Ipswich are capable of. But then it looks like we get to the 90th minute, and I'm thinking, in my mind, I'm thinking 3 minutes added time. 8 minutes. I honestly don't know, but I dare say the Ipswich fans were chuffed with it. And you know, the longer that 8 minutes went on, I was just thinking something's going to happen here, and bloody hell it did, didn't it? And I'm not going to blame Lyndon Dykes, I do beg your pardon. I thought he was a steady Eddie when he came on. I don't think we're going to see a huge amount of Lyndon Dykes, not because of this, but I just think that at half time we introduced Marvin Dukes, the player from the forward from Werder Bremen. And I tell you what, I've looked at some of his goals as well, and this guy's going to be a real different kettle of fish for us as an option up front. So I think that just puts Dykesy down the list a little bit for me. Might see him in some of the cup games this season, but I'm not going to blame him for that penalty yesterday, because the bloke went up, tried to make a challenge, and was just so unlucky. But like I say, the referee had probably blown the whistle before the ball was even hitting his hand. That's how it felt to me anyway. Ethan Laird came on. Don't think he did much, to be honest with you. Don't think he got into the game. He's not much of a super sub, is he, Lairdo? And he wasn't in his normal position. He was a little bit further ahead of Bright, so he was only given 7 minutes of normal time to get into it. Tommy Doyle also came on 77 minutes. Got a 6.5 because he was on long enough to get something. Didn't really make an impact on the game for me. But you can see that guy is just a footballing brain, and he will do well for Blues. And Mr. Utility Man Taylor Gardner-Hickman came on literally with a few minutes to go, if that. And steady Eddie usually shores it up well, but didn't have time to do a great deal. But one thing old Taylor Gardner-Hickman did do for me, he didn't let Ashley Young rule the roost down their right-hand side. I thought he put up with him quite well. But I'm not going to mention any more about him. The least said about Ashley Young, the better. So all in all, saw the interview with Chrissy Davis at the end. You could see he was absolutely gutted, but couldn't fault the team. I could dare say he wanted to say a lot more about the refereeing, but we just got to move on now, haven't we? So anyway, next up for Blues, it's a cup game, EFL Cup, and it's at home Wednesday, 13th of August. If you haven't got your tickets, go and get them, because this should be a good game. Sheffield United at home. That's another strong test. Be interesting to see what sort of team formation we put out against that one. I think Davies will probably go for it again with not too many changes, but he does need to start rotating a massive squad. We've got such a good squad in depth now, and I still don't think he's 100% sure, because I wouldn't be with the players we've got, who we're going to be starting when. But I'd like to see this new Dutch get a look in at some point, give him a good chunk of the game. I'd be quite happy to see him get a couple of goals in his first outing for the Blues. But the next league game is away next Saturday, Blackburn, which will be a fantastic game again, I'm sure. Saturday the 16th of August, 3 o'clock kickoff. I'll be back with Ben. We'll try and get a bit of a preview done for the Cup game and obviously the Blackburn game, and we'll come back and we'll have a chat about it here. Let us know what you thought of it, guys and girls, on the comments. It's not the worst thing that could have happened. To get a point against Ipswich, like I say, at the start of, or before the game, I was really coming around to, yeah, bloody hell, a point would probably do me. But it's just the way that it happened, isn't it? Because let's face it, we were there, weren't we? It was 1-0. People had left, as they always do, and it's gone. It's out of my system now. Let's move on. Keep right on. We'll speak to you in the week. Have a good week. See you later.